So thank you all for joining us this morning. This is our first Access to Text that we have had an outside vendor join us today. So we've got Nizam from Poly or HP Poly joining us today to talk about their product set and a few things they've got coming out and working with Access4 on. So as I mentioned, so got myself as always, Mitchell, head senior solution consultant. We also have Nizam joining us as well, and Michael from joining us here through the presentation and what they've been working on. And Michael, if you want to do a quick introduction about yourselves and what you do over at HP Poly, and then kick it off with your presentation.
All right, thank you, Mitch. Thanks for the introduction. I'm happy to be here. Hello, everyone. Hope you have a lovely day. Yeah, I'm Nizam. I'm the solutions architect for voice from Poly, HP. So my main role is basically to look after the technical pre-sales within the Greater Asia region, inclusive of Australia and New Zealand, as well as other part of Asia, mainly on voice product. So anything technical with regards to our Poly voice product, feel free to reach out. I'll be more than happy to help out, and hope you'll enjoy the presentation later on. Over to you, Michael.
Hi everyone, my name is Michael. I'm a Poly partner manager within the HP broader business, and really here to support Access4 and the broad ecosystem of yourselves as the partner community with Access4.
Just before we do jump in, if anyone does have any questions as we go through the presentation, if you just want to throw it in the Q&A section of the webinar, and we'll run through all those at the end as well. Over to you, Nizam, and your presentation.
All right, thank you. So let me share my screen real quick. Okay, hopefully everybody can see my screen. I'll try to keep it short and sweet, within roughly 30 minutes. Again, any questions that you have, any queries, anything that you'd like to know more with regards to HP Poly, with regards to our voice product that we're going to present today, feel free to drop them in the Q&A session. We'll definitely get back to you on that. And we do have Michael to look after the chats as well. If he can, basically he'll be assisting me answering all the questions on as we go through the presentation. All right, so let's kick it off. Hopefully you can hear a bit of an audio. So this is just a quick intro with regards to where Poly actually started off, all the way back in 1969.
I'm going to step off the limb now. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
So, all right, hopefully you can hear that. So again, if you don't know that, that's basically the first audio communication from the moon to the Earth. And that was back in 1969. And guess what? The headset that they were using were basically Poly headsets. So just imagine that we've been in the business, we've been the leading innovators of the audio quality all the way back then. And there's a quick, I guess, a nice trivia is that that's basically the first remote working ever in the world. Just imagine you're working from the moon, and that's basically as remote as you can be. And again, using a Poly headsets. That's how amazing the technology is or was back then. And of course, as we grow along and as we come to the year 2024, there's a lot of new innovations that we put in, and part of it will be shared today in our presentation.
I'm going to step up.
All right, so Poly with Access4. So before I go into that, when you talk about audio or voice, headsets or desk phones and all those stuff, so what's the most important, or basically the biggest challenge that everyone has? It doesn't matter where you are, it doesn't matter who you are, it's basically you're going to have the same challenges, especially when we talk about hybrid working, remote working, and then mobile working. So this is where the environment actually comes into play, which is good and bad. So good in terms of you're actually more comfortable where you are. You can actually choose where you want to work with, where do you want to work at, but you can't control the environment. So there could be dog barking, it could be ambient noise, it could be people walking around, talking, chit-chatting around. If you're at home or if you're living in an apartment or shared building, people doing renovation and all the stuff. So based on our surveys or the studies that we've done, 94% people actually experience ambient noise during call. And this was really apparent during the pandemic, even now when people are actually doing more of the hybrid working. So ambient noise is the one key factor that will disrupt your communication. And basically, sorry, let me just close this. And there's a lot of noise that sources of noise that will disrupt our daily communication. Just a simple phone ring. If you're basically, let's say I'm in this call and suddenly my mobile goes off, that's actually one ambient noise that will disrupt my this webinar. People chatting around us if you're actually in office, and more so now is that people are actually hot desking and all of your work spaces are actually getting closer together, and you don't want to be in a call while they're at remote party actually hearing your colleague next to you talking in their meetings as well. And then kitchen appliances, if you're actually working at home, not everybody has a nice setup at home or has a nice home office. Sometimes you just use the kitchen, be in the kitchen just to use the countertop just for your meetings, and then suddenly your family member just turn off their blender or just start making juice, etc. So all these ambient noise are actually there and it's unavoidable. If you want to do remote working, hybrid working, these are the things that you need a good technology to actually mitigate this and will help you with the experience. And why experience is really important. Noise experience is really important because that's how you actually communicate. It keeps your productivity up. It actually does not disrupt the communication. It makes the communication much clearer, and that's making the your work and your communication more effective. So with Poly, we do have a lot of technology that we put into this. Since I wouldn't say all the way back from 1969, but again, it's added more and more of these technologies to actually fit our work style in the current era or current environment. So the first audio technology I would like to share is basically acoustic fans. So acoustic fans is really important and it's in most of our high-end devices. If you talk about the Poly Voice Folio, the Poly Voice product, the desk phones, acoustic fans are basically in almost all of it. It doesn't matter which range it is, but we put in acoustic fans. Why it is so important is because when you're actually having a desk phone, you're actually using the handsets to actually speak. You actually don't want the noise from other people or from outside of your environment to actually comes in and disrupt your communication. So that's how important acoustic fan is. What it does is it just creates a virtual fence around you. So any noise that comes with from out of that specific fence range will not be transmitted to the remote party. And the next one is basically noise block AI. So noise block AI has evolved. We started with normal noise block, where we actually just identify a certain type of environmental noise that we thought would be most common. And then we've actually evolved this to put a bit of AI into the algorithm to make sure that the device is smart enough to identify that the noise that comes in is not an audio noise, it's not you talking. So it starts to suppress those background noises. Phone rings, keyboard clickings, which is very common when you're actually having a meeting, dog barking, which you can't control. Even if you don't have a dog, maybe your neighbors does. Again, work drillings and all those stuff. So the Poly devices or audio device technology will actually learn this noise or understand that, okay, this is not an audio device coming from a human speech, and it will start to suppress that and provide you better audio quality. And if you take a step further in terms of noise cancellation with some of the, I would say medium to higher end headsets, we do have Poly noise cancellation. So noise cancellation actually just give you a nice cozy environment for you to actually communicate with. Just block out all the external noise from you as a speaker itself, so it does not distract you. So all this technology will actually provide you with a better experience, better audio quality. And again, in whatever product that Poly has or Poly launch or Poly has launched, we have never compromised in terms of the audio quality. So with all the innovation that put in, audio quality is always definitely our number one priority. And we've actually have a nice, really great history in terms of that, how our devices are actually long lasting and actually have a much superior quality. So as a overall solutions that we have, what we'll be talking about today is mainly on the voice solutions, and we actually work closely with Access4 to actually have some of our device certified and operationable with Access4. So just a quick recap or just quick summary in terms of what we have. On the top left is basically a SIP telephone. SIP telephone, IP telephony, which is our HE premium IP telephony, which works great with most other providers and definitely works with Access4. At the bottom here, we do have our C6 appliance, which is touchscreen Android mode. Android, it runs native applications. And middle here is basically Rove DECT series. So this is actually a really great device where it allows mobility within your campus or within your office without compromising the audio quality or the voice. And last but not least, we do have our 8A series. If you actually still have or like to use those analog classic phones for aesthetic reason, or maybe some of your customers still prefer their old phones, would just convert IP to analog. And last but not least is the conference series. So if you're actually in a huddle room or you just want a conference device with great audio quality, with roughly around 20 feet pickup range, with all those great features, not block AI, we do have our Polytrio C60 series out there. And one thing to note is that if you see all this microband protected, so this is actually a partnership or exclusive partnership that we have with Microband to actually infuse the technology within our plastic mold itself, so that the handsets are much more cleaner and inhibits microbes from growing. So it actually stops microbes and bacteria from actually growing. It makes the device more hygiene, more clean. Especially within this hot desk environment, people are sharing handsets, sharing their desk phones. So all this actually comes into play, and this is actually one of the key differentiator that we have in the market. Only HP Poly has it at this point of time for this technology. So again, it just keeps the device clean, makes it last longer, gives you confidence for people to actually use it, raise the adoption, and makes the technology go further. Going to the Poly Edge series, I'm going to deep dive a bit in this call for a few minutes in terms of the Poly Edge series, because I think this will be our key product in the market at the moment. So this is our next generation IP phone, which is the latest that runs on OpenShift platform. We do have quite a range from this series itself. From the left, most left is basically the highest end, highest range, E500 series, E400, E350, E220, as well as E100 series. But when we work closely with Access4, we actually would like to streamline in terms of the devices that's actually being supported. So we've actually targeted just a few models to make it easy for Access4 as well as you partners to actually communicate in the market, to actually position the devices when you actually do have customer opportunities or voice project opportunities out there. So the first one that basically we're going to deep dive into is basically the E220. So this is actually an entry level. The second entry level, I would say. But why we actually position this is that because it actually has a nice look and feel of it. It includes Bluetooth. So this is actually a great feature that it has. 4-line keys, basically customizable LED up here. So all this are actually a button phone. So it's basically a really reliable device. The target is basically for common areas, basic users, flexible worker as a backup phone device. And the best part is of this E220 is that the wall mount is actually provided with the box itself. So just imagine that if you want to put it at the lobby, at a parking lot or parking bay, you can actually just get this unit, just have the so-called mount tab removed from the back, and then just install it. Just put in some screws, just install it while mounted. So it's as easy as that. So this is actually makes a great entry-level phones for just basic usage without compromising any of the audio quality. So next is basically the E300 series. We do have two variants for this. So the first variant is basically E320, and the next is E350. So the major difference between these two variants is that E320 only has Bluetooth, while E350 actually has Wi-Fi included. So you can actually use this in a Wi-Fi environment. So it's actually support Wi-Fi 5. And it actually basically tested working with most of the access point out there. So again, the major difference that you can see between the E200 and this E300 series is basically it has this nice halo LED light. So when we talk about nice halo LED light, it does not only does it look good, but it's actually functional. By functional, I'll give you an example is that, again, this color, if you don't like green, you can change it to any color that you want. What color you ask, anything that RGB supports. So again, it could be something as trivial as that, but again, it's something nice that to actually have a different look and feel. Maybe you have a different corporate color that you actually like to portray in all your offices, or maybe the customer don't like green, for example. Maybe it's just a seasonal thing. If it's Christmas, you want to make it green and red. If it's something else, just change it to other colors. So it's very customizable. And why we're actually looking into all this, I mean, put a bit of I would say emphasize on all these features, because when we actually came out with this Poly HE device or Poly HE series, we try to innovate furthermore. We've done all the great audio qualities within our past product lines. We've done in terms of reliability, in terms of I would say interoperability with all the players out there, with in terms of the easiness of deployment. So everything's basically in place. So when we actually look something beyond, it's basically the user experience itself. So not only in terms of user while making a call, but just looking at the phone itself. So we've added a lot of I see features into the phones to make the user experience much more feasible when using this device. One thing to actually add on more is that we've added lots and lots of accessibility features. So we can basically change the screen layout. Basically, we can change the color. So to actually help with the those with visual impact challenges, there's a lot of other things. We can actually make the font bigger, make it bold, make it more contrast. So this is actually helps in terms of again, back to the experience itself. Next series, just like to share is basically the HE450. So again, most of our series do have variants with and without Wi-Fi, but when we actually work with Access4, I think this is basically one of the best models to be put forth as well. So major difference for the E400 series is that it has again the same nice halo LED light, and the other one is we actually add an additional screen line keys at the bottom here. So this actually works well for the receptionist with common area that actually would like to have some fixed I guess speed dials or quick additional speed dials for the purposes on top of that. So again, this also support Wi-Fi, supports Bluetooth, and in terms of Bluetooth as well, we do support quick pairing, which I'll share a bit later on as well. And again, all that I've shared is basically SAS4 certified, and so you basically can actually have that confidence to say that if you go with this product, it's basically going to work with Access4 seamlessly. Oh yeah, just one last thing. When you go E400, it actually has enhanced bass for the audio speaker. So you can actually use this as a speakerphone as well. So most I would say executive when they use the phone, they like to put have speaker and have few people around it. So this is actually a great device to position for that as well. We do support expansion module. So if you do need additional speed dials, additional contacts to be on the phone, so if it's not enough using the existing device, you can actually add on one additional expansion module with the E400 series. If you need more, feel free to come to talk to Access4, come to talk to us. We do have a higher range, which is the E500 series that actually can support two expansion modules. Before I move forward, just one thing I forgot to actually mention, this nice red circle over here, nicely drawn, I would say. So this is actually a pagination button. So without expansion module, for all of our HE series, you actually have paginations on the screens itself. So by pagination, I mean that you actually have additional 3 virtual screens. So just imagine on this phone itself, you do actually have 8 line keys. With pagination, you actually get 3 additional video screens. So when you actually press this, you actually change to a second screen, you're going to have additional 8 screen. So it can go up to 4 pages. So 8 times 4 is 32. And then at the bottom here, basically you have 6. So this actually have 2 pages. So 6 times 2 is 12. So it can goes up to 32 plus 12 line keys that you can actually configure on the phone without expansion model. So when you actually have expansion model, it actually becomes a bit more tough. And this is not only for the E400 series, as mentioned, for all of the HP series. Even if you go a bit lower, or maybe back to the entry level, E220, you only have 4 line keys. Oh, sorry. But with pagination, you actually can times this by 4. So you're going to get about 16 paginated line keys. So which is actually great and basically more than enough for most of the use cases out there. Going to the Bluetooth in terms of ease of pairing, we do have quick NFC pairing method. So what it means is that it actually makes easy pairing for the Bluetooth headset. So if you, with most of our Poly premium headsets, you just put the headset in a pairing mode, just put it close to the phones. The phone will actually automatically pick it up. And you can just press a single button to actually pair it. So it makes it easy for you to actually pair headsets to phones. This is actually a real good case when you're doing hot desking and you just don't want to use the handset for any reason. You'd like to use your personal, your own Poly headset. You can actually claim the desk phone as your own and then just do a quick pairing with it. On top of that, we actually extend that to the mobile device as well. You can do quick pairing with mobile device. And not only you actually transfer the audio of the mobile device to the phone, you can actually sync your personal phone book from your mobile device to the phone itself. So it makes it easy for you to make calls to numbers that usually you have on your mobile device. Because most of the calls that you make are for external parties, and external numbers are not within your corporate directory. So this is actually a really good features. To actually have that seamless experience when you use the phone. I guess the security concern that you think is that, hey, then my personal number will be on the phone. When somebody comes to my phone, they can actually simply make calls to my personal numbers, which I don't want. So they've actually thought of that. And as a security measure, as soon as you walk away, as soon as the phone is actually out of reach, Bluetooth reach, again, Bluetooth is not that far within the range, that directory or basically that phone book in the desk phone, in our Poly H series will not be accessible because it knows that your phone is out of range and it's going to lock that device. And basically, you can actually wipe it out as soon as you log out from the device itself. So it's basically relatively secure, so you won't have any device leak, basically numbered stored on the device when you are not around the device itself. Headset compatibilities, as mentioned, these are the 4 main headsets that we have. If you actually have any of these 4 headsets, easy pairing is there, as what we call it, fast pairing is there. Put it in Bluetooth mode and it pairs pretty quick. All right. Conscious of the time, let me go through the next device family, which is the Poly Rove. So Poly Rove is actually a DECT phone series, which is mainly targeted for specific user personas, mainly for healthcare, manufacturing, enterprise, retail, hospitality, and education. Why do we target this? Because these personas or this workers within this industry requires mobility, requires a reliable device that does not break easily, that's easy and small enough for them to actually carry around with them while they roam around their office or the campus or basically the manufacturing hall or factories on to actually have a daily communication. Main thing to actually take note is that what you need is good range, good coverage, good battery life. So that is really important. So, and especially when you're actually in a closed environment where handphones are not allowed, or maybe your mobile coverage is limited, this is where DECT actually plays a really important role and actually has a nice fitting to that, that would fit within that requirement itself. So the best part is it's very scalable. So we do have 3 different models within our DECT solution, base station itself. So start off with B1 as a single cell, B2 dual cell, and B4 as a multi-cell. So where do we position this is basically depends on how big your space is and how many handsets that you will need within your environment itself. So if you just need a big, maybe just less than 10 handsets within a up to about 50-meter radius range, you just need a single cell. If you need beyond that, you can actually scale up to dual cell. It goes up, and then if you need more than that, you can actually go with our multi-cells. And multi-cells, the best thing is that it goes up to about 1,000 handsets, roughly 2,000 concurrent calls, and it actually goes up to more than 1,500 meters squared of range that you can actually cover. And this is actually huge. If you actually do outdoors, basically that range will have a better outdoor coverage as well. So where we actually put this in terms of Rove family design. So one thing is very highly scalable, privacy is protected. Again, poly is always on quality as well as security. So when we talk about privacy is protected, the DECT communication is encrypted regardless of where you are. As long as you're using poly DECT solution, your communication will be encrypted up to the base station, and then from the base station to your core control, that will be basically encrypted via the core control that we have with Access4. Seamless on-site mobility, which is basically provides you with great roaming. If you have a nice DECT coverage, then you can actually just roam around, have a talk on the call, and this actually have a great battery life. So it goes for about 18 hours of continuous talk time. So basically, you can be on the call for 18 hours and walk around your entire campus or entire office without getting disconnected. So just imagine that. Standby time is around 300 hours. So if it's idle, it will basically last about 300 hours, and that's basically multiple shifts without charge. 24/7 protection. This is where microband comes in again. So all the handsets actually basically the two handsets, the two higher end handsets are actually microband protected. And ruggedized as well, which is the two handsets. So going a bit in terms of the handset models, we do have the Rove 20, which is the entry model. This is not ruggedized. This does not come with microband. If you drop this, it's going to break just like any of other mobile devices or any of other devices out there in the market. But if you need something more robust, we do have the Rove 30 as well as the Rove 40. So this is again IP65 ruggedized. If you drop it, it will survive a 2-meter drop. There are no gaps in between the button here. So it means that you easy cleaning. You can actually use approved liquid solution to actually wipe it off, and it's basically more robust and fits more meets most of the harsher environment requirements. And all this come with the back clip and a 3.5 mm jack if you need to use a headset to make it hands-free. Okay, last section is basically in terms of configuring poly headsets with Access4. It's fairly easy. It's again SASPOS certified. Just in terms of adding headset, I'm sure that you are more expert on this or more experienced on this compared to myself. So just basically adding the device inventory. As soon as you actually add in inventory, just put in the MAC address as usual, and we do have a back-end communication with our zero-touch provisioning devices that will, with Access4 SASPOS platform, to actually claim that device. And then as you've done that, the phone will actually be provisioned with Access4 services. Again, the normal stuff, assign the numbers, etc. Again, you are more expert on this, and how seamless it is. I'm pretty amazed in terms of how Access4 has made this such a easy onboarding experience to me. I've literally basically got an account on day one, and then the next day once I have access, within I guess about half an hour just of playing around without having any knowledge or without having touching a Salesforce platform before, I was able to configure my headset, assign multiple numbers to a single handset, get it onboarded without any help without reaching out to any of the Access4 teams. So it makes it seamless enough for deployment. So if it's easy for me, definitely it's going to be easy for you as well as the partners out there, and provides just a great deployment experience to this entire ecosystem and solution. All right, I think this should be my last slide. So these are the models that are certified. So we do have the E220, 320, 350, as well 450, the Edge E series, the desk phone with the nice halo LED lights that I've showed earlier on. And the expansion modules as well is certified. When you go to the Rove, the B1 single cell, B2 multi-cell, as well as all the handsets are actually certified with Access4 via the SASPOS platform. Okay, with that, again, the summary: polyphones definitely sound your best whenever you're doing using polyphones. Audio quality is definitely number one for us. Designed for hybrid working. Again, you've seen our platform, we've seen our portfolio. This is basically just a quick snap view of what we have in our product portfolio. So it's definitely designed for hybrid working, inclusive remote or in office, wherever you are. Feature rich with adding more and more features in it. very accessible, very great experience. Lower power consumption, which is really important. Most of our platform are EnergyStar certified. And last but not least, safe and hygienic. With our microbiome protected partnership, our device are basically safe and to use. Will give you a great confidence and experience to use our device. With that, I thank you and pass it back to Mitch. Again, before that, any question, feel free to drop in the Q&As.
So we do have a few questions in the,
Yeah.
so
Sure.
we'll run through those now. The RGB halo on the handsets, do you, I don't know if we've got it configured internally to do so, but do you know if you can configure it to do things like your ACD status for call queues and things like that? Or is it single color depending on your status and or however you set it?
Okay, so the RGB status color at this point of time, it actually follows the state of the phone. So we can't actually follow the like call queue, etc. So it does not follow the call control platform side. So when we talk about state of the phone, it's basically alerting, idle, power saving. We've just added DND, which is really important, so that once you put yourself on DND, it actually change color. So it really, so you know that if you don't get a call within a single day, something wrong with the phone, instead of calling Access4 for support, just check on the phone, you'll the color change. Okay, just turn off your DND. So yeah, for now it really only follows the phone state itself.
Yep, awesome. The prices quoted on the slides, they're the Access4 prices, reseller prices, correct? I believe, which means that they would be ex GST. So just for that one.
I'll double check that one to just wholly confirm, because we want to make sure price numbers are always correct. So I'll just double check that and maybe message it back to yourself, Mitch, and to share with the team that are on the call today.
We'll get back to you about that one then, Shannon. That's no problem. Is support to configure all the line keys via the poly lens?
Poly lens, all right.
Yeah. So you can configure it all through SaaSBOSS, like you do with all of our notified devices. So you can do it all through there. Alternatively, you can add it as a generic device, SIP device, which point it is talking back to the poly lens portal, and you can configure it. We do recommend doing it inside SaaSBOSS to figure it all through there. It's a bit easier, but you can do it external if you need to as well.
Correct. And it's basically mutual exclusive because SaaSBOSS actually take over the provisioning. So if you go with SaaSBOSS, stick with SaaSBOSS. If you're going with a third-party device, then you have the option of using polylens.
The Rove handset base stations, do they operate in a mesh mode or are they single tiered back to a base station?
It's basically operated in mesh mode. So once you actually have them set in a dual cell or multi-cell, it doesn't matter where you are. It's basically in a mesh mode. In a mesh mode.
Awesome. And what's Poly's recommended headsets that will work best with Poly handsets?
So the main 4 handsets will. Michael, do you want to cover that or?
Oh yeah, I can cover that. I'll just
Okay.
basically by pointing to myself. The four main headsets. One of which I'm wearing now is our Voyager 4300 series. So there's a single ear cushion headset like what I'm wearing, and there's also a dual version of the Voyager 4300 series. There's also the Voyager 360 earbuds, which can be paired, and Nazam is wearing, as well as our new Surround 80 over the ear, more like CAN style wearing headsets, as well as our probably our flagship and hero product, which is our Focus 2 headset. So I'm happy to share some links in this Q&A after this, just to everyone aware what particular devices they are. But they're probably our 4, highest volume headsets, and 4 keys that we think that really need to have this simplified pairing with our edgy phones.
Perfect. I think that covers off all the questions that we had, which is great. I'll flick it back across to my laptop. So that runs through our questions. So we are doing some in-person events. So in Melbourne on the 15th of May, which is next week, we are doing an event here in our office. And then in Sydney on the 20th of May, so the Monday after that, we're doing an event up in the HP Poly office in Sydney. So if you are interested in those events, a bit more of a deep dive into the product set, things like that, please reach out. You got Stephanie's email on the slide there. Otherwise, you can reach out to myself, or you can reach out to Jasmina, who organizes these events, and we can we'll send you across the details for those. But we'd love to have as many of you who wish to attend to those events as possible. That being said, thank you all for joining us today. No, it's a little bit different to what we normally do. We do really appreciate HP Poly for joining us for the session today and giving us their time this morning, which is great. And we look forward to seeing some of you at those events in the near future and Access to the Techs again next month. So thank you all this morning, and we'll wrap it up.